my Gelli Arts gel printing plate, and I wanted to show you a couple of fun things you can do with a gel printing plate. I've been playing with mine for the last 2 weeks or so, and I'm just in love with this. I sit and I play on this thing all the time. In fact, that's what I sat down today to do, and I decided to turn on my camera and show you guys some of the fun things that I do. So I have my gel plate here, and it's on my Teflon craft sheet, which they recommend putting it on a Teflon craft sheet, a baking sheet, or a piece of glass. You want a non-porous surface. You want to also make sure that you have it on a flat surface, because anything that kind of sits on this is going to imprint into it. So you don't want to use anything sharp. You don't want to have anything heavy or like the edge of something sitting on it, because it will imprint almost like memory foam. And there is this mineral oil that comes out from the gel, and that's just because it's how it's made. And I find that keeping this kind of, when you take it out, it's kind of like sticky. It's a little like moist. You don't want it like really wet, but like for me, I live in Arizona, so everything dries out really fast. So I usually just spritz it with some water from above. You don't want too much water, because then the paint will get mixed up with the water and it just won't work out well. I'm using I have some Martha Stewart craft paints here and some golden fluid acrylics. I have found that the craft paints work the best for me. You want a paint that's going to stay open for a long time. If you have the golden open acrylics, those actually probably will work the best. You can also use oils on here, which I haven't done yet. So the craft paints seem to work the best for me, and that's what I'll be using today, but you can certainly play with any paints that you have around. I also have a huge bin of stencils, and here are some of them. I just have like Crafters Workshop stencils, old doilies, Punchella. I have things that I've cut out on my own. I have a bunch of bubble wrap in a couple different sizes. You can see these have all been used, because you can do some really cool textures with your gel plate. What you want to do is you want to figure out what stencil you'll be using before you do anything. So I wanted to show you guys the texture that comes from bubble wrap. So I'm going to put down just a little bit of paint in the middle and use my brayer to spread it out across the entire plate. That's a dog hair. This paint color is actually like a very, This paint color is actually a very translucent color, so it'll be nice to start with this as a background. So you can see it really coats the entire plate, and it goes on really easily. I'm just going to press my bubble wrap into the plate. And that adds some really cool subtle texture, and it actually prints to the paper very well. Now I'm using Wausau 140-pound cards or index, but you can use whatever you have around. And the reason I put my brayer is because it's kind of my way of cleaning it off, get all that extra paint off of there, and then I use my hands to brayer it down. And as you can see, the texture really transfers to the paper, and it just looks so cool. I just love it. And you really don't have to clean anything off of here. I'm just going to do my high spritz since I live in Arizona. And I'm going to do another print and show you how Punchella can be used to make texture as well. Now you can see this is kind of spreading out really easily, and that's because I actually put too much water on the plate. It's kind of a fine line going between making sure it stays moist enough and so there we go. And I'm going to use the Punchella that I have. And you can either lay it down and leave it there, or you can kind of use your fingers to kind of tap some kind of texture in there. Kind of looks kind of fun and grungy. So put that that down. I do the first run with the brayer to clean it off. And then use my hands. Now, I don't clean my stencils off when I use them with spray inks or paint, so some of that actually transfers onto the actual paper, but it gives it really this really cool kind of grunge texture. And then like over here and over here you have different colors coming in from the stencils that aren't cleaned. So here are my two pieces, and I usually work with two pieces of paper when I'm on here because when you start using stencils you get to use them twice, which is really cool. I recommend figuring out which stencils you're going to be using before you even put down any paint. So I have these cool snowflakes that are Glimmer Mist snowflakes. And I just think they look cool. That one's the only one that really looks like a snowflake, really. So I know which ones I'm going to use and kind of an idea where I'm going to put them. So now I just have to pick a color. One piece of paper is pink, one piece of paper is purple. So I'm going to go with, let's see, I'll go with this peachy orange color I have. Again, I'm going to cover the entire plate since I have 3 stencils that are going to go over the entire thing. Down, put my stencils back onto the plate, kind of like letting them hang off, and we'll do this one over the pink. So I'm just gonna lay my piece of paper down. The backs of these actually turn out really cool if you do a ton of layers on them with cleaning off the brayer like this. And it kind of just picked up the general shape of. So here I have a stencil that I created just by picking up leaves while taking a walk, and I've brayered just a portion of my gel plate, and I'm going to put my stencil down, and I kind of want to give a block of stuff to this one, and we're going to go up here. So again, I'm going to clean off my brayer. Like so, and just get the leaves on here, and then I can pick it up, and since this one made out of paper, not a lot stays, but I can get some impression of them on here. And you just kind of keep going like this with stencils and textures, filling the entire plate up, filling part of the plate up, until you get to some place that you really, really like. This one looks really cool. Just does really cool dots. Pull it up, grab the other piece of paper, put it down. So I think out of the two of them, I'm really liking where this one's going, and of course I'll keep going with layers and textures and different stencils until I get someplace that I really like. But it's just so much fun to just sit here and play with it. It's really kind of like no pressure, no, you know, it's just like keep brayering stuff. It's really relaxing for some reason, and really kind of like almost like meditating, because you just kind of just going. So I just want to show you one more thing before we go. I have a piece of wallpaper here, this really cool piece of wallpaper, and I want to use white paint on it to do something cool, because it's not all about doing stuff on a blank white piece of paper, but doing it on found papers and all kinds of things. So I'm actually going to go for a full size print on my wallpaper. The whole thing braided, and I'm going to put in some texture. my bubble wrap. And then I'm going to put down a big stencil like this. This is a Crafter's Workshop stencil. And then put my, I don't know if the piece of wallpaper is big enough. I've cut it apart so many times. Now this doesn't, the found papers don't really stay as well as a thicker cardstock. So you don't really know what you're going to get when you pick it up. Get something cool. Now, since not a lot came up with that, I'm actually going to put it over the one that I don't really like that much. And there you go. I think that looks really cool the way it is. I don't know if you can see the subtle colors and stuff behind it, but it's really cool because now it's kind of like when you work on a journal page and you do a whole bunch of layers behind and you cover it with gesso or white paint. And now anything I do over this is just going to look really, really freaking cool. So I really encourage you, if you can, to get one of these things because they are just so much fun and it's just another facet of your creativity coming out. And you can actually start printing to the point where they become pieces of art in themselves. They're not just something that you just play with and don't do anything with it. I have actually made copies of my pages at Staples or Office Max or wherever you can go get to a copy machine, or you can scan it in and print it out yourself. And I've been using them. I just cut them apart and use them in my journals or in my paintings or just anywhere I just really want a cool looking paper. I'm just making my own. So I hope you learned something about using the gel plates today and that you'll use them, get one for yourself. So I hope to make another video with more techniques and things that you can do with the gel plate, but I hope this was a good beginning thing to get you acquainted with the product, and I would love to see what you make. You can leave that in a video response below or just send me along a picture. Bye!